Welcome in to the February 13th Fun Astrology podcast. This is the first one of these that I've done on this date because the podcast started in March of last year, I believe. And this is a special day. It's my daughter's birthday. So, yay! She's doing great. She is knocking the cover off the ball. She is in her mid-20s and just doing amazingly well. But this is why I say is that I understand the Aquarian perspective. My daughter is an Aquarian. My mom, whose birthday was just recently, she is now in spirit, but she was an Aquarian. And her sister was born 6 years later on the same day, also Aquarian. So it's funny, with all of that Aquarian energy, and you know, it's if you don't get complete with something in your life, the universe always gives you plenty of opportunities to do so. So there's this thing in astrology called dispositors. It's an astrological word, and it's where you trace the ruler of a sign back to basically its ruling position or as close as you can get. What does that mean? Well, it's kind of like this, and it gets confusing, but right now the sun is in Aquarius. All right? The ancient ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, and Saturn is in Capricorn, so Saturn is home. So we would say that Capricorn is the dispositor of the sun in Aquarius. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, there's plenty of information. If you Google dispositors, D-I-S positors, then you can read up on it. But I was doing this for Majana's chart. And do you know that every one of her planets disposits back to Aquarius? So what that tells you is that there is an Aquarian overtone to the person's life. So with all that Aquarian energy, if there was something I didn't get complete with it, I sure have the opportunity now. Because Majana, when we kind of laugh about it now, it's like, oh, you're going to your Aquarian side. But that's an interesting study to do in your own chart, is to see what kind of other overlay energies you might have going on. It's an interesting study. All right, I'll tell you what, this is going to be quick because most of today's chart looks exactly like yesterday. So I don't want to repeat the same thing, and don't please give me a 1-star review on iTunes. I'm not going to repeat the same podcast. And you guys are so amazing. Thank you again for just taking care of that little issue. We are right back where we were, and I really appreciate all of you who chimed in. And if you like the show, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. We're trying to climb the ladder under the astrology search over there. And, you know, if you don't like what we're doing, just please drop me an email at info@funastrology.com, and let's talk about it, because as I mentioned with that other situation, there might be a really probably pretty good reason underlying it that you might not understand of why I'm doing something. And if you have a great suggestion how we can improve around here, I'm all ears, would love to hear it. And I would just request to use the energetic high road, you know, that positive side of the chart. And let's talk first. So yesterday's podcast really stands for today. I think we covered it pretty comprehensively. The one thing that I would tee up is that we need to be now focusing on Mercury retrograde, which begins Sunday evening at 7:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Mercury is in Pisces, and when it goes retrograde, it will be at 12 degrees. Neptune is in Pisces, as you know, and it is at 17 degrees. So they won't be conjunct, but they are only 5 degrees apart. So where that could be amplified could be around mistaken communication, because Neptune confuses, right? And it could be like non-clear communication. That's a very Piscean/Neptunian characteristic. Now, we'll talk more about it over the weekend and into next week as it launches, but here's the thing. So we're at Thursday. If there is anything that you would like to deliver or communication-related projects that you would rather not have the stamp of Mercury retrograde on, then today or tomorrow or Saturday would be your delivery deadline. If it's an email that needs to be sent, if it's a report that needs to be turned in, if it's something that you would that you could delay until next week, but you kind of thinking, I'd really rather not have confusion and misinterpretation energy around this, then Friday is your day. If it's a work project, if it's something that could be turned in before 8 o'clock, basically Sunday night, I'd back it up. I would be protective. I'd say by Sunday afternoon, then do that. Mercury retrograde, Pisces style, coming at us on Sunday. Have a great Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow.